back to this I-24 News Evening Edition. I'm Lucy Arish, and this is the Daily Debate. Israel's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Avigdor Lieberman, will be appointed as the country's foreign minister after being acquitted of all charges against him after a long-running criminal trial, which ended this morning. Joining me tonight is Daniel Shek, former Israeli diplomat. Good evening. And former Israeli ambassador, of course, to France, and as well as Attila Somfalvi. Good evening, political analyst at Ynet. Welcome you both. Welcome, gentlemen. So he's going to come back with his hand on top, Mr. Shek.
Indeed, it's an unequivocal verdict, and I think. Like it often happens in politics, he was thrown to the ground and he bounced right back, and he may come up stronger than he was a year or two ago.
Do you think that he's going to come back stronger than he was?
Yes, his party had a bad time, a period of time, like he's around 6-7 seats in the Knesset in the polls. I think Lieberman will be again the old one. He will go to the right to show his electorate that he's back. He was quiet for a while. He didn't interfere in the peace process, for example. He let Netanyahu lead the way. But now, from the foreign ministry, he will be able again to put his ideas on the table, and he will do it right away because he knows that the Habayit Yehudi, the other party from the right, is taking a seat in the Knesset.
In a minute, we will talk how much power he's going to give Benjamin Netanyahu. But what does it mean to the foreign ministry office? Because when he was in his role as a foreign minister, when he took the job, a lot of people may say that he did some damage to this office.
I think that there are two aspects to this. First of all, it's undoubtedly it's not a good thing for a ministry not to have a minister.
Of course.
And that has been the case for quite a while, and especially a ministry like the foreign ministry, which doesn't enjoy huge independence and power which come naturally. I think in this regard, Avigdor Lieberman was considered as quite a success, even in the eyes of many of my former colleagues, because he is a powerful political player around the cabinet table, and that was not always the case for foreign ministers. It's a question how much he really cares about Israeli foreign policy, or is it something that it's a position that just gives him prestige, nationally but also internationally, and a position of power right next to the prime minister. Maybe that's for Attila to say, it's just a starting block for maybe changing places with the prime minister, but that's a different story.
Exactly. Is it right next to the prime minister? Is he going actually to help and secure more of the prime minister, or is he going to go back to Avigdor Lieberman 2 years ago, who gave a totally different political views than the foreign minister in the General Assembly 2 years ago?
Well, Avigdor Lieberman is going to do exactly what Avigdor Lieberman needs to do, and it's to secure his own safety in the political scene after so many years of him being indicted or investigated by the police, and him being in the public opinion kind of like a crook. He now can show up and say, well, you know what happened, you saw what happened, I'm now free to do exactly what I want, and I now can go and try to conquer, not now, in 2, 5, 4, 6 years, the prime minister office. Netanyahu for now is safe because nobody has any kind of interest to dismantle the government or to go to new elections. Therefore, Lieberman will be the right side of the government. He will be on the right side. He will be the one who says the Palestinians are not a partner. He will be the one that sometimes will embarrass Israel and the prime minister in the international scene, saying we cannot talk to the Palestinians, Abu Mazen is not a partner, we have to stop talking to them.
So how come he saved the seat for him if he knows, if the prime minister knows?
That was the deal. When the two parties, the Likud and the Israel Beitenu, got together before the elections, this was the deal. The only thing actually that Lieberman asked from Netanyahu was, keep the seat for me and I'll be back. and Netanyahu had no other way to do it but to keep the foreign ministry at his office, and this is what he did. And now we'll see him in 3-4 days again back in his office.
So we will see him again back to the office, and when you're getting back to your old seat, but after a short, let's say, vacation that you had to take, how do you go back to this job?
Honestly, I don't think that's going to be the problem. I think
More than that, I'll ask you, how do you go back to a job where you know that people don't actually find it very appealing that you're there?
Well, it depends who the people are. It's true that, how should I put it, in this not very large club of international affairs, the club of foreign ministers around the world, international organizations, how should I put it? Avigdor Lieberman is not considered exactly a rock star. And it was part of the problematic side of his performance in the first time around. He was foreign minister. Not every door would open to him. Not every door would open to him more than once. And he did have a slightly different order of preference in what is really important to him. And I think Attila said it in the best possible way. First and foremost are his political interests, and the interests of the State of Israel in the international scene often come second. And to me, as a professional diplomat, formally, that is unacceptable. It's something that should not happen.
But that is how hard does it make your job as an ambassador to have a foreign minister who is very hard to deal with?
That's not the issue. You're not, as a professional diplomat, as a civil servant, you're not there to judge, unless you can't live with it, and then you leave. But as long as you stay on the job, you have an obligation to fulfill the policy of the rightly and democratically and legally elected leadership. And there is no discussion. Avigdor Lieberman has every right to impose the policies that he believes in, unless, of course, the Prime Minister stops him. But as a professional, as the professional cadre
You tried to stop Mr. Lieberman.
No, I didn't try to stop him.
I don't think Netanyahu is able to stop Lieberman doing anything.
No, but I think I did, I was in clear disagreement with many things that he did, and I came to a point where I felt that I wasn't comfortable with it, and I left. That's the way it should be. It's not for him to leave, it's for me. Yeah. So, but. But
is it the way, actually, that every time that you find yourself in deadlock with the foreign minister, you just find yourself outside and you say, okay, I cannot cope with this, I have to go?
I didn't find myself outside. I put myself outside.
This is the question.
I have absolutely no argument with Mr. Lieberman. He never did anything wrong to me. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue.
You didn't see things in the same way.
But you ask, how will he be received by personnel of the foreign ministry? I think no problem at all. I think in many ways he will be welcomed back because the ministry is in a deep crisis. There's labor union issues, there's workers' rights issues, there's budget issues, and there's leadership issues. You need a leader in such a ministry.
I would like to add something. I was talking today to some people working at the foreign ministry, and I was asking them about how they feel about Lieberman coming back to the office. So they said, well, at some point, we are very sorry that he's coming back. We don't like his policy and so on. He's not the perfect diplomat or the first diplomat we would think of. But on the other side, he is very strong in the government. He is very strong next to the prime minister, and he is able to bring budgets. And this is one of the main problems the foreign ministry here in Israel is dealing with, and it's the lack of money. And the lack of money is exactly the problem that Daniel was talking about. The lack of money is throwing many people out. Throwing meaning people are not staying in the foreign ministry because they can't live with the money they are paid with. So Lieberman bought a lot of money, new budgets in the past 4 years, and those working there now say and hope actually that he's going to be able to do it again, just to strengthen this ministry that is anyway, as we were talking about this at the beginning, anyway this ministry is very weak because the most important issues are led by the prime minister, the American connection, the link with the Americans, with the White House, with the Secretary of State in America. So all the main issues actually in foreign policy are led by the prime minister. So therefore, the people just want to feel safe where they were.
The really interesting question, I think, is around the peace process. Because
exactly what I wanted.
in the first term he was foreign minister, he very bluntly said that he's not interested in the issue. But it was easy to say because there was nobody else doing it. There was no peace process. There were no negotiations.
With the Likud.
Today, it's different. There is another minister sitting around the cabinet table, which is Mrs. Livni, who is in charge of negotiations, who is working very closely with the Prime Minister and with the Prime Minister's advisors. And the question is, will Mr. Lieberman continue to say, I don't believe in this, and therefore I'm not interested in this, I don't want my ministry to deal with it at all, let them play with this toy, they're not going to go anywhere? Or will he change his attitude and demand a say and involvement? No, I don't think he can demand to take over the talks because that's in the coalition agreement that Mrs. Livni has it. But he can have a presence there, and I'm not sure it will be a very helpful one.
Maybe 2 or 3 points just to remember. The one who brought Mrs. Livni in, was Avigdor Lieberman. He was the one who convinced her that she should consider again joining Netanyahu's government. That's the first one. The second point is that we have to remember is that those two are still in very good personal relationship. Lieberman and Livni together, they talk a lot together, and I think that Livni is also giving him, let's say that like this, inside information from the talks, from the peace talks. And the third point that is very important, to see his ministers, the ministers of Israel Beitenu, they voted, 2 of them, Aronovich and another one, they voted pro-releasing the Palestinian
so that
prisoners.
Was actually...
And that was very interesting to see. And Aronovich is sitting in the committee who is releasing every 2 months new prisoners for the peace talks.
So, and he is, of course, Aronovich from Israel Beitenu. Let's not forget forget that.
And this is very interesting to see because till now, Lieberman did not interfere in the peace talks.
And he did not interfere. We can even say that Benjamin Netanyahu can be very relaxed from this side because he has the other side of Beit Yehudi party to be worried about. But from the...
I don't think he has to be...
Relaxed is probably not the term I would...
Not in Israel. You can't be relaxed about anything here.
And it's not about Lieberman,
no, but
he
has to be... Netanyahu likes his... coalition weakened all the time. He likes his people around him to be weaker than he is. So he had Lieberman weak till now, till today. He was very weak. He didn't know what his future says about him. That's one. And you have the Beit Yehudi and Bennett, who is going to the right, and is going strongly to the right. Lieberman will have to attack Bennett and not Netanyahu because he has to bring back his power in the right.
So do you think that, last question for both of you, do you think that because what you said at the beginning, that Lieberman was losing from his power in the last polls, do you think that in the next elections we will see a stronger Lieberman?
That's too soon to say. You don't know what will happen. I mean, Netanyahu can do the impossible and bring, a peace agreement with the Palestinians, and then the whole political scene will change. Netanyahu wants to stay in power. He wants to keep his seat. Therefore, perhaps in, 6 months, 1 year, whatever, we will be able to say much more than today. Perhaps we'll have another big bang in the political scene saying that Netanyahu brings a peace agreement to the table, he puts it on the table, and then he says, well, I have to leave the Likud, I'm going to take all the middle parties like, Hatnuah or the other parties who are pro-agreement and form another party like Sharon did.
These are going to be very interesting next few days for Avigdor Lieberman and for the political Israeli map. Thank you very much, Mr. Former Ambassador Daniel Shek. Thank you very much for this. And thank you very much, Attila Somfalvi from Ynet. And we are going out for a small break, 10 minutes break, an update from our news desk. And then we're back for the I-24 News One-on-One. And tonight we'll be dealing the big economy, the United States. We're not going anywhere. 10 minutes, and I'll be back.